One. Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me, as always, in the co-host seat is our good friend, Mr. Darren Starling.
Yellow.
Our other co-host, Angela, is away on a family vacation in Greece. I hope she's having a good time out there.
Greece?
How dare she? That's all I gotta say. How dare she?
Maybe she'll meet John Travolta, see some nice old cars. You never know. Oh, wrong Greece. Sorry.
Well, we could introduce her to Eddie Deason.
Yeah. I bet she'd like that. Hello, John. As a reminder,
I bet she would like that, but she went to Greece, so no, not happening.
As a reminder, Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you tonight by KC Fox for all of your artwork, cosplay, and photography needs. Be sure to check out KC Fox, that's KAYCIFOXX, on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
She Foxy?
Could be.
Were you reading that off like a teleprompter or some crap? Because your eyes were up in the air.
No, I was looking at the mic is right above the monitor, but everything is right off of memory.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it was almost like your eyes were folding back into your head, like you were trying to remember it all real quick.
Yeah, he's got them pasted on the back of his eyelids.
Yeah,
it's not like he ain't been doing this for 10 years.
I know. You figure after 9.5 years, I'd have this memorized and not need note cards. But yeah.
Well, actually, at least you didn't call me Brandon.
Yeah, at least I didn't call you Brandon this time. Again, welcome to Anime-Zing Radio. We are starting off strong with the craziness. We have some amazing guests. These gentlemen have had cameo appearances at multiple of our live streams from conventions throughout New York, New England. And we are really, really excited to finally, after years of talking about having them on the show, to actually be able to schedule it. Please welcome Jeff and Ben from Talking with the Dead.
Peace. What's going on out there?
Right?
Everybody having a fun Sunday night?
Oh, yeah. And John Knight in the chats are already right there saying this show is rated TVMA. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh, well, we'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
We'll see how it goes. You know,
I have a leaf sticking out of my left titty.
That's okay. I am wearing the new Mega Man shirt that Darren got me. Fun little fact. Last time you guys saw me, Darren and I had not met in person yet. It was before I went down for training in Georgia. On the way down, Darren was gracious enough to let me spend the night at his house to break the drive up in half. On the way home, crashed with him again, and we went to GalaxyCon.
Oh, what the hell, Darren? We just drove down to Georgia. You didn't offer us an invite.
What part of Georgia?
Columbus.
We just drove down to Columbus, Georgia, and did an event down there.
And did y'all take 95, I presume?
Actually, on the way home we did. On the way down, it took us like through Pennsylvania and West Virginia and all these back roads surrounded by trailer trucks.
We were in country.
It must have taken y'all through like Winston-Salem, Charlotte, somewhere through there and toward the tip of Georgia.
Yeah, literally, we stopped outside of Virginia Tech to spend the night, and then we ended up going through the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Yep. We did that every time we went to Snowshoe Mountain in West Virginia.
Yeah, let me tell you, I don't want to do that shit again.
Well, good weather would be a great ride, but...
Well, yeah, but I couldn't see 2 inches in front of my truck.
No, true.
What was that, Darren?
You don't like hairpin turns?
Oh, I don't mind hairpin turns if I can see them. It was torrential downpours, and they had the fog alert signs going where it went from your speed limit is 65 to your speed limit is 20 with trailer trucks on both sides and behind. I was not liking that.
Well, to be fair, I went to Ohio earlier this year to get a piece of equipment, and it snowed from Virginia all the way to Ohio. And West Virginia is very liberal with the salt on their roads.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jesus.
Hell, I've hit snowstorms in Georgia, so.
And
Yeah.
to avoid the turnpikes, the toll roads, you had to go
Mhm.
through these back roads, little towns that you about crashed into anybody if they were on the road with you.
Okay. Fair enough.
That or you'd crash in someone's house.
Yeah. As long as dinner's being served, it's all good.
No, Ben, I mean, that ride down, Ben asked me if I farted. I said, no, I just shit my fucking pants.
And there we go, folks. There's the rated MA. 5 minutes and 41 seconds into the show, and the F-bomb has been dropped.
And now, as we normally do when we have the guests on, especially new guests to the show, we want to give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves to our audience out there.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ben.
Hi, I'm Jeff.
And tell everybody a little bit about Token with the Dead, how you guys got started with it, where the idea came from.
Well, the idea,
Well, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, the
Ben.
idea was a T-shirt business that we had probably like 28 years ago now.
Yeah, 30, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I met Jeff in 1986. I was smoking a joint up on the roof of my shed, and he was wrestling a dresser into his house. So I asked him if he wanted a hand. The rest is kind of history. But a few years after that, we started a T-shirt business based on the positive side of cannabis and hemp and everything it could be used for. But, you know, back in the late 80s, you really didn't have the streaming services that you have now. So
There wasn't
it was
even
really
internet. There was no internet.
we had AOL. It was like, you know, so yeah, it was a pain in the ass. But fast forward, life happened, you know, everything got put on hold. Fast forward, and we went on vacation, what, 5.5 years now, 6 years ago?
It was
2017.
It was the winter of 2017.
Yeah. So we ended up on vacation down in St. Lucia with our wives. We were sitting on the beach, and I'm not a big drinker. I quit drinking when I was in my late 20s, and I pretty much hunted around the island till we found a prominent family that could get me some weed. And we were sitting on the beach, smoking and drinking and chatting about the T-shirt business. And I had mentioned to Jeff, hey, you know, I found the folder with all the old documents and blah, blah, blah. And at that point in time, cannabis was becoming decriminalized. And we've always been huge horror buffs, all the way back to, you know, the Romero stuff, and even earlier, all the way back to the 1930s, you know, the original Walking Dead in the 1930s. And we were like, dude, we should just try to help break the stigma by combining cannabis and zombieism and just kind of put our own little twist on it. And he looked at me and said, man, you're a fucking genius. And
that's not what I said.
No, yeah, I
think
think
you fucking. No, I said you fucking high, man. Zombies and weed.
Right. You did say that, and I said, well, let's put out a little test.
I didn't go along with it right away.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
You know, I will tell you, Jeff hasn't gone along with much right up front. He's always bucking it, but then it becomes, you know. So what I did is I did an Instagram post about weed smoking zombies, and it friggin' blew up within 2 days. I showed him. I'm like, look at the numbers, dude. I mean, we're onto something. So he reluctantly agreed to start producing our apparel again. And long story short, when you have apparel and merchandise, you kind of have to associate it. Well, this is him speaking now. You know, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah. So you know, he's right. You gotta, it's, you know, to sell anything merchandise wise, you have to. It has to be associated with something. I don't care if it's a TV show, if it whatever it may be. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to buy this stupid looking shirt, even though it's a great looking shirt, if it doesn't mean something. You know, which means it has to be associated to something. So both of us being writers, we decided to start writing. And we figured that a novel or a story about weed smoking zombies would be the best fit. So we kind of got a couple of chapters in. The whole thing actually started at my camp up in Maine on a picnic table.
Mhm.
And, at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning kind of a thing. So once we had a couple of, we did the intro and the prelude, and we had a couple of chapters, and I think was it my brother we showed it to?
Yeah,
Showed
your
him,
brother Jimmy.
we showed him the couple of chapters we had as our idea, and he just thought you guys are fucked. That's basically what he said, and he goes, but it would make a great comic book. Now, I'm a high-end woodworker. Ben's a woodworker. He builds houses and does remodeling and stuff like that. We know nothing about comic books other than the fact that I've read them all my life. So I think we both looked at each other and be like, oh, this might be fun.
Right.
So we did a little research. We found an artist, and off it went. We started doing the comics. We continued to write the chapters of the novel, but as we went, we pulled the comic book out of the novel and released the series of 5 comic books first, because people seem to like it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of how that whole thing got started. To me, I'm 60 years old. To me, it was just kind of a fun, jokey kind of a thing to do. I don't expect anything to ever go anywhere, because if you do, you're just setting yourself up for downfall. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, but we're having a lot of fun doing it. And then we started doing some conventions. And I remember going to our very first convention. We bought our table, and I don't even know if we had a banner. I think we had a little sign we put in a frame or something. And
No,
we
I
had
think
our,
we didn't. We had that little banner that we hung on the front of the table.
yeah, we did. Yeah, that we hung
It was
on the
like a
front of the
little
table.
vinyl thing. Yeah.
Literally we had one comic book on the table. That was it.
Well, no, we had a couple of shirts. We had the original weed smoking zombie shirt, and we had the old red shirt.
I still like that shirt.
Yeah, we did that first convention, but I mean, literally, we had a 6-foot table at a convention in New Hampshire. We were right on the corner. Across from us was the frozen ice cream guy. So by the time the people made the corner, they saw the frozen ice cream. They were already by us. So we were kind of like, yeah, this sucks. I mean, the positive side of that convention, though, is we had
Kevin Eastman was right behind us.
Kevin Eastman and his crew were right behind us, and by the end of the weekend, they were all reading the comic and wearing our shirts. So it was kind of like, I don't know how this is going to work out as far as conventions go. And then we got an invite to a cannabis convention. Come hang out for the weekend and try to show your merch and stuff. And we did that, and it kind of exploded right there for us, And of course, marketing yourself is key. Get like you said, get your face in front of everybody. We've seen you at numerous conventions over the years, and
Oh yeah.
You see how we operate.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we don't sell shit at a convention because neither one of us are ever at the table. Literally.
That's why you usually have helpers that can man the table while you're out. And you guys do a great job at networking at the conventions.
Yeah.
And that's one big thing that I've been learning from going to these cons is how to network, how to talk with people. And for any aspiring artists out there or people who want to start some sort of business where you want to go to conventions and sell merchandise, networking will be your best friend at these conventions.
Oh, yeah.
Because you
Absolutely.
will make some connections that will blow your mind. One of the connections we made early on at it was one of Gary Summers' shows, Northeast Comic Con, back when it was in Wilmington, Mass. At the Shriners. We were like 2 tables down from Noel McNeil from Bear in the Big Blue House.
Mm-hmm.
And he came around to the artist with a book just asking for a quick sketch. And of course, my wife, being an artist, drew a little sketch of Travel, our little Minecraft ocelot that rides in the car with us. And she colored it in for him. And from that convention, she was the only one who did a color picture in that book for him, which he still has. And the reason I know he still has that is when I was visiting with Darren, coming back from Georgia, he was a guest at GalaxyCon in Raleigh and walked up, said hi, told him who I was, and he remembered us. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I still have that book." And it's crazy the connections that you can make, and then years later you reconnect with these people, and they remember who you are, or you build strong friendships because we have, especially this year, we have tabled across or beside each other at multiple events.
Yes, we have. Yes, we
I know.
have. And you're absolutely right about the networking. Before Jeff and I actually launched the comic book, we went to an ECC in Hanover. It was the last year he did the Hanover Mall, and it was snowing like crazy out, and we just went as guests. We walked
There was
around.
really nobody there because of the weather.
Yeah, the weather kind of killed the show for that day, but what we were able to do
it too.
Well, yeah, but we were able to walk around, and we walked up to like Joe St. Pierre. If for those people that don't know who St. Pierre is he did all the #1 selling covers for Spider-Man for Marvel in history. So we walked up to him and we told him what we were doing, and he literally looked at us and said, "You guys are fucking geniuses, because nobody has ever incorporated the two, ever." And he goes, "Man, it makes me wish I actually worked on that."
So it's funny.
Yeah.
It is. It's funny because, I'm the type that I like to do as much research as possible before going into something new. And even though everybody seemed to kind of like it, it's like, okay, well, what's the market? What's out there already for a cannabis-based comic book? And what I found at the time, and it's still true today, maybe there's a couple more that have been added, but there's only about 10 or 12, maybe 14 today of cannabis-based comic books. And the problem is they all try to be the superhero stuff. You know what I mean? It's all Budman and, all of this crazy stuff trying to follow the superhero genre from Marvel and DC. You know what I mean? And it just didn't work for me. You know what I mean? Because it's beating a dead horse, in my opinion. How many superheroes do you need? Seriously, you know what I mean? And you're gonna have Budman, you're gonna have Joint Dude, or whatever they call these friggin' things. So I said, okay, we've got something different. We got something unique. Let's take the next step and let's see how unique it really is. So we filed for our trademark. And we really found out in short order just how unique it is.
That's awesome. And I'm like you guys, especially you, Jeff, where I like to do research when I have guests on, because there have been times when I've had suggestions for a guest and they'll reach out to a cosplayer that I've never met. And so I've done some research to see, okay, what do they cosplay, outfits, things of that nature. Even before starting this show, because this show was a 6-month project before actually ever starting our first ever episode. And when I decided to do Anime-Zing Radio, there were not really any like anime podcasts that focused on like anime, pop culture, things like that. A lot of it was based around the music of anime, J-pop, anime openings and ending songs, things like that. And we're going back to 2014, where anime wasn't even half as mainstream as it is now. Thanks to networks like Adult Swim, things like that. It was gaining popularity, but it hadn't really started that climb up like it is right now, where every convention you go to has an anime voice actor, or you see people cosplaying from My Hero Academia or Attack on Titan or things of that nature.
Yep.
And so it really takes a lot to go into it. And the crazy thing is, looking back on those days, that's how Darren found out about us, was because I happened to reach out to a Facebook page he was a mod for.
Right.
And then years later, after being a fan of the show for years, I gave him the opportunity to be a co-host, and he's been sitting in the co-host seat for about 4 years now, Darren.
Like that.
4 or 5 years.
Can you hear his voice getting a little bit lower as we go? He's
Yeah, how come I can't see your freaking
He's
face?
starting to
What the hell? You're
doze
hiding behind
off.
some weird
Darren
looking
has
thing.
only ever showed his face during a live show once.
Well, you better damn show it today.
She must have been cute. Just saying. So, I mean, so to get back to like the comic book stuff, you know, like Jeff said, we reached out, we found an amazing artist out in California named Eric Yep. Did an amazing job with the first comic. Unfortunately, things didn't work out. He pursued his own careers, and we kept moving forward. And we found another artist for the interior. And I said to Jeff, well, let's do like a variant cover release. Let's put some names on this. And we started going back to the conventions with different artists. And we literally walked up to St. Pierre, and he remembered who we were. And we were like, we want you to do a variant cover. And he jumped all over it. And sitting 2 tables down from him was Steve Levine, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle artist. And he goes, oh, what? You don't want to keep it in New England? You know, I'm from Maine. So Steve ended up doing the cover of issue number 2 for us. And what we found was, because a lot of people come up to us and say, how the hell did you get Levine and St. Pierre to do covers? Just asked them. Literally. Just walked up and asked them. I mean, no. What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say no. You know,
and that's one thing that we have always tried to instill in people that we meet that ask us questions. You know, how'd you get to where you're at? What'd you do? Blah, 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 blah. The simple thing is don't ever, ever, ever be afraid to ask. Never.
Right.
I don't care what it is you're looking for. Don't ever be afraid to ask. You know what I mean? Well, there's certain things maybe you shouldn't, but you know what I'm getting at.
I've heard stories about your podcast, which we'll get into the podcast that you guys do later on. But
we do a podcast? Oh yeah, we do.
So. Well, yes. It started as a podcast. It's been classified now as a talk show.
No, it started as a fuck show. But anyway.
Yeah, that too.
And a question that came in from the chat, John Knight wanted to ask if you have ever watched The Walking Dead with the voice actors Brina Palencia and Jason Douglas.
No. I literally stopped watching The Walking Dead. I want to say it was after season 3. And then I would catch bits and pieces all the way up until where they killed Glenn. And I was like, this is just people fighting people, man. If I want to see people fighting people, I'll sit down and watch a good war movie, because that's kind of like what it was. They kind of got away from the zombies, and to me it just became another zombie apocalypse.
It was the power of clans is what it became.
Yeah, you know, it just became a zombie apocalypse. You know, not to mention, like Jeff said, we filed for our trademark in 2017.
August of 2017.
Yeah, you know, and then literally within 2 weeks we were opposed. Well, actually, sorry, we weren't opposed. We got a cease and desist in an email from AMC and The Walking Dead, saying that we couldn't do that. And we basically, being from Boston, said, you know, stick it up your ass. It's up to the USPTO, not you. And that, if you Google us, that went on for 2.5 years.
Yeah. Well, 3 years if you count from we got the cease and desist.
Well, right. You know, we ended up getting the trademark, and it became a opposition and back and forth, and they spent a ton of money on lawyers, and we spent a ton of time, of personal time, doing rebuttals and fighting it and moving it forward. And it just got to the point where we got so busy with everything else that we're going to get into tonight that we just didn't have time to deal with them anymore.
Well, when TMZ picks a story up and throws it around the country,
try 3 countries, coast to coast.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, it kind of threw it around. And when I say TMZ picked the story up, it's because I reached out to them and they picked it up.
Well, right, but it was a David versus Goliath.
I mean? It was a David versus Goliath story, and You know, you can Google all of that for all the, you know, your listeners. You can go out and you can Google all of that. The
Yeah,
biggest thing that bothers me about all of that press is, and I want everybody to understand this, it was never, ever a lawsuit. It was a trademark dispute
right.
through the USPTO and the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board. There was never, ever a lawsuit.
Right.
It
And the
never
reason
existed.
it was never a lawsuit is because it was through the USPTO. So by law, they couldn't come after us privately and sue us.
Mm-mm.
You know, but what we did find, and there's a ton of interviews of Jeff and I out there explaining all this. I sum it up in one sentence, but I'm not going to do that on your show because it is PG-13.
It is? Good to know.
Yeah. But long story short, we had found through our research that it was happening to multiple entities out there. We're talking over 500 different entities that had put out something that was The Blanking Dead that were opposed and squashed by AMC and The Walking Dead.
The Running Dead.
Yeah,
There was the Running Dead, the Squatting Dead, the Crawling Dead, the Swimming
Yeah.
Dead, the Golfing Dead. You name it. You know,
and people had
everything was
filed,
out there.
yeah, they had filed
You
for
know,
trademarks and been
and
opposed and abandoned.
The one that really, really bothered me, all right, and really put a hair across my butthole, and why I was not going to allow them to succeed and belittle people trying to do something, was a trademark that was filed. It was called The Running Dead. Okay, it had nothing to do with the show that they had nothing to do with any of that. What really pissed me off was that they shut down, okay, a 401 nonprofit, okay, raising money for people in need, for hunger. And basically what The Running Dead was a 5K road race in Florida. And they called it The Running Dead because they had zombies come out of the woods to chase the runners.
Wow.
But that was a nonprofit.
Yeah.
These pricks literally shut down a nonprofit trying to raise money for food for people that needed it. That pissed me off.
Yeah.
As you can tell, it's a touchy subject. But it isn't. You know, we did get good press out of it. We tweaked the name very slightly, turning it to Talking with the Dead. They signed off. We told them to basically go pound sand, and we kept going. You know, we built our core following, and we just kept going, as you know.
Oh yeah.
But you can find that. Just Google us. If you Google Talking with the Dead, you're going to find 7 friggin' pages about us. Read all the stories. You know, 90% of them are not true. Unless they're about Jeff, then they're all true.
And
because I touched myself. No.
Comment in the chat, agreeing with you about The Walking Dead was entertaining until you realized they kept killing off favorite characters.
Pretty much.
And John Knight wanted to know, what's your favorite horror movie?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's a tough question because there's so many good ones.
Okay, I'm going to respond back to that with this. What decade?
See, now you're just playing head games with the poor guy.
Well, what are you talking about? I'm 60 years old. I've been watching horror movies my whole life. What decade are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, that's why I said, man, there's so many good ones. I mean, you could go all the way back to like the originals, like Boris Karloff and Henry Hull, and back in that era, and there's a ton of great ones. And you can come forward to Romero, which is a ton of great stuff in that era. So, I mean, for me, anything that a lot of people get killed in and there's some partial nudity is a great horror movie.
I have to say, I wouldn't say favorite horror movie, but it was definitely a horror movie in my eyes, and that was My First Wedding.
Hence the reason why we say don't be afraid to ask people, because the worst you can hear is no. For us that are married or have been married, it's a common household word, man. No. It's just that simple.
All right. So, but I will answer this question that question this way. One of my all-time faves, and that's only because of the time frame that it came out in the late 70s. I was 15 and I saw it in a midnight movie, and that was the original Hills Have Eyes.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
Scare the hell out of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as you move forward, obviously, you've got the Halloweens. Jaws to me is not a horror movie, so get that right out of your freaking head.
No, it's a fishing movie gone bad.
Okay, but like I always do, Ben, you gotta go out, go to Tubi, and you gotta go see Don't Fuck in the Woods.
You really like that movie.
I do. It's awesome. I love it. I love the concept of it. It's, it's a horror comedy.
I think for your birthday, I'm going to reach out to the producer of that because they just came out with the second one.
Yeah, the second one's out now, yep.
I think I'll reach out to the producer and get him on the show just so you can interview him and you guys can talk about fucking in the woods for an hour.
I would love to talk to him. Well, it's
All
not.
right.
You got to see the movie to understand. I don't want to give it away,
Right?
you know. But it was popular enough. It's a B. It's not even a slasher movie because it's a creature movie.
Right. So
You know what I
to
mean?
answer your question, John, we just love horror movies.
I love all horror movies.
I mean, when
You
I
know,
jet,
Piranha 3D.
when
mean,
I
you
met
kidding me?
Jeff back in 1986, we literally, I ended up going to work for him and his dad in their company. And literally once a week, because his wife was still in school and she wasn't living at the house at the point, and he lived next door. We would walk down the block to the video store and right into the horror section, and we'd go, start here. And we would go, yep. And we would literally rent VHS tapes and go back and watch them. And I mean,
Yeah,
we're
but
talking
you're
stuff.
missing one part there.
Which
Because
part?
there was certain videos that weren't out on the shelves. You had to be 18 to look at the book to
Yeah.
get the really good horror flicks,
Like,
along with the
yeah.
other nudie skin shit. But
Yeah.
to get
Yeah,
the
make
actual
Die
horror flicks,
slowly. Make them die
make them
slowly.
die slowly.
The
Eaten
Mutilator.
Alive.
Yep.
The Mutilator, by the way, I just watched about a week ago because it is
Great
currently on Tubi.
Great movie. Great movie. The things they do with a gaffing hook in that movie, holy hell.
You know, so I don't know if we answered that question or not, but I have a lot of favorite.
But we
horror
did
flicks.
rant on for 15 minutes, killing a good portion of time.
Now, getting into the Comic-Con scene with your comics and stuff, was that a big adjustment for you going from, okay, we're going to sell t-shirts to, okay, we have an idea for a comic, let's try Comic-Cons? You said your first one didn't go well because, let's be honest, placement is everything at a convention.
Right.
If you're put up, depending on who you're put next to, could make or break sales for anybody, whether you're, well known or not.
Right. I mean, I think. Go ahead.
I'm going to say no, and the reason is because conventions and shows were not new to me. I know they were new to Ben, but as a high-end woodworker, I was doing juried art shows for 8 to 10 years before that. So I was used to that kind of a scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it does depend on where they put you. I knew how to set up a booth. I knew all of that kind of stuff. So I wasn't surprised. And it was something that we could just build on.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So no, I don't think that it wasn't. To me, there wasn't a learning curve. The only learning curve was, okay, what can we do better?
Right. How can we build on this? How can we make it better? And we found that, really getting yourself out there, the banner behind you and, the tablecloths and building on your merchandise brand. We had the comic books, and then I think we went from that into, we had the apparel, and then we started doing little stuff like mouse pads and rubberized cup hole, coasters and lanyards, finger chillums,
and all this
exclusive
stuff.
stuff.
And we always say you got to get your face out there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's common knowledge that people will remember your face but not your name.
Mm-hmm.
That's common knowledge. Okay.
I'm
So we
I'm
took
guilty
it.
of that.
Oh yeah, everybody is. So we took that to the next step, in the next level. Our face is on everything. Okay, it's on the cover of the comics. We're the main characters in the comics. Okay,
Yep.
it's our faces as zombies on the back of the T-shirts. Our faces are on the label of the hot sauce.
Yep.
We put our faces everywhere, so we are highly recognized now. You know what I mean? Our faces are on the cover of the book. We just switched the names to fuck with people.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean? But
that
people know our face.
That and the
that's important.
networking, like you said, Doug, earlier about the networking. When we started doing conventions, Jeff would sit at the table and I would do a lap. I literally would walk the entire convention. I would stop at a couple of tables, depending, artists, writers, superstars. And then I'd go back to the table and then Jeff would do it. And we literally would do that through the entire convention, to the point where you'd have celebrities going, how do you sell anything, man? I've seen you like 25 times. And I'm like, it's about networking. If I don't sell a single thing at this show, but I walk out of here with a lead or the next step of what we're trying to accomplish, then it was a success,
Oh, I totally agree with that.
And that, believe it or not, that's how we became affiliated with Bill Diamond and Diamond Productions, is because we were networking, and it piqued his curiosity, and he came over. I think it was like our third or fourth convention. He came over and he's like, all right, tell me what you're all about, because you guys just don't sit still. And we chatted. We told him what we were doing. We gave him a copy of the comic, and he came back about an hour later, and he said, tomorrow after the convention, don't leave. I want to chat with you. He wanted a meeting with us, and he actually pulled us into a side room, and there were people peeking in going like, what the hell? Like, how are you in a meeting with this guy? And we had a really, really good meeting with him about the entertainment value behind what we were doing. So, I mean, there was some other things said in there, I looked at him and he had the diamonds, the diamond on his jacket. And I said, one of these days I'm going to have a jacket with my logo and yours on it. And he looked at me and said, kid, you're fucking crazy. Just like that. Straight out. Serious face. You're crazy. You're fucking crazy. Just like that. I was quoting, so it's allowed. And, we also told him that he would be filming for us. And he said, you're not there yet. You're not ready. But go ahead, Jeff.
We're still not ready.
No,
but we're doing it anyway.
Ready. Right.
So it's I don't care. I don't care what you're doing out there. I don't care if you're trying to write a book, write a comic book, do some artwork. I don't care if you draw nudies and put pasties on the titties. I really don't freaking care. Okay. Have a passion about what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And go out and talk to people. I walked around. We were just, like we said, we were just down in Columbus. Okay. And we're working with the promoters of that, of that con. And I walk around and I talk to the different vendors. How's the weekend going for you? This is a first-year con, by the way. Most are very, oh, it was good. It was a little slow. It was the first year. They understand, blah, 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 blah. But when I come up to the people that are just ass negative, okay, I have something to say. I didn't even make table on this weekend and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so it's been pretty slow? Yeah, it's been too slow. How many of the other vendors have you met? Well, what do you mean? I've been walking around this convention for 3 days. Every time I walk by your table, you're just sitting here. How many of the other vendors, or celebrities and the special guests for that matter, have you actually met? Well, I don't know what you mean. Make yourself a sign, especially if a convention is slow. Make yourself a sign, be back in 30 minutes. Put it on your table. Get your ass off that chair. Walk around, hand out business cards, go talk to people, go up to the celebrities if they're not busy. Hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm a vendor. This is what I do. Give them your business card. You don't have to have any other interaction than that. But God damn it, do something. Don't just sit there and bitch that there wasn't enough people.
I mean, a good example of that is Darren got to see firsthand how I act at a convention regarding AZR.
Yeah, I've seen that too. It's scary as hell.
Sometimes.
No, go ahead.
Darren, what was your impression about, walking around GalaxyCon and how I was with people and the celebrities and everybody?
Well, you were very professional and courteous, and you kind of eased your way into every interaction. I did think you went a little overboard when they were starting to lose interest a couple times, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's where the
Absolutely.
passion comes in, though.
And I agree. I mean, how do you think I sell stuff to my clients?
I mean, we talk to celebrities about turtle heads. I mean,
Yeah, we did.
seriously.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. But
And
that's
I
only
think
because
some people just don't know how to take us. Because when you put the two of us together in a conversation, I mean, you really don't know where that's going to go.
And for our viewers out there tonight, this is them very dialed back. And I guarantee if Angela was here, it would be a lot worse.
We'd be getting yelled at every 13 and a half seconds.
Right.
One of the highlights, and we've talked about this on the show, from your meeting with Angela and you being, we're from the Boston area, and then saying, Plymouth, and she just stands up and screams, "That's not Boston." As somebody from Boston, I pick on her about that because it was hysterical.
Oh yeah, I mean, but it's just easier when you're on the road as much as we are in locations all over the place, and somebody says, "So where are you from?" You go, "Well, I'm from Plymouth," and they go, "Plymouth."
Yeah.
And I go, where the Pilgrims supposedly landed, and they go,
Well, young people don't even know about that.
Yeah, because they don't teach it in school anymore. It's like, Thanksgiving, that's where it originated. Pilgrims and Indians, all that shit. And they go, I just go, I'm from south of Boston. It's easier.
Yeah.
And people like Angela, from Boston go, I'm from Boston. Okay.
Hey, I can say I'm from Boston. I was carried away in a parade.
Yeah, well, they let you go because here you are.
Well,
But
I mean,
anyway.
honestly, it's I like Ben said, we always say, Boston area.
Yeah.
I'm from Massachusetts. I'm from the Boston area. Oh, nice pussy.
Thank you.
Hi, kitty.
I have
This
a
is
kid that looks
Haru.
like that. Haru?
Hi, kitty.
Say hi, Haru.
Oh, what up, kitty?
The other one is sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, both of mine just came in, ate, and left. That's why I kept looking
mine.
down. They were rubbing against my legs. I'm like, "What are you doing? I'm getting interviewed."
Oh, I like when they rub against my legs.
The
And then
fur
could have
tickles
gone
him in ways. Wait, what?
It could have gone so many different directions and real.
Well,
quick.
yeah, I have a leaf sticking out of my left breast.
I laughed because last year I went to a gaming convention in Syracuse, New York. I'd never been to a gaming focused convention before. It's always been Comic-Cons, anime cons, multi-genre conventions, things of that nature. And so going into this event, and I wasn't press. They wouldn't allow me to go in with cameras or anything like that, which caught me off guard because every con you could just walk in with a camera to take photos. Nope, you're not pressed. You can't bring that in. No big deal. What? Put the camera back in the car. But did the networking thing. Talked to some of the artists that were there. Learned about some of the gamers that were there. Talked to the celebrities that were there. From that convention, we got two two voice acting guests on the show, both from the Genshin Impact franchise.
Nice.
And one of them turned into being probably one of the most amazing interviews we may have ever had on this show, to the point that Darren, Angela, and I, after the interview, was like, I hope they don't get in trouble for what they said, because they went into extreme detail about what was at the time a very touchy subject. And
Yeah, you know what? Touchy subjects. I mean, we do a lot of interviews right now as well. And when we were down in Georgia, we also run all the panels. So we interview and we do all the panels. They are all streamed live, and it was funny seeing the different takes from the different celebrity guests on what they would and what they would not talk about when it comes to the SAG strike.
yeah,
Some of them, they didn't give a shit. Others, I can't talk about that. You know what I mean? And I get it, but I'm one of those that, you know what? Grab your fucking balls and fucking do something.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What are they going to do? Fire you? They're not doing anything for you anyway. And I talked to Bill about it, and one of the things he said, because he talked to somebody, and he's like, well, you don't want to talk about it. You can't talk about your career because you might get in trouble. And, SAG looks down on you if you go out and you do an indie project, especially with a strike going on. Well, you know what? You ain't doing anything for me. I've got a family to feed.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a mortgage. I've got bills to pay. Who the fuck are you to tell me what I can and can't do? And that's mine and Ben's attitude since day one. I don't give a shit who you are. Nobody's better than anybody. Everybody's on an even playing field. Okay? And if I hurt you or I said something wrong, say something to me. If I offended you, not my problem. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
That's your fucking problem.
And that's
You
the
follow?
problem with the world today.
And that's the problem with the world today. You know what I mean? Everybody, don't say, fuck you, man. I don't care. That's not my problem. You know what I mean? I'm not offended by Cracker Jacks. Why are you offended by Aunt Jemima? I mean, seriously. I don't get it. But we're not going to go down that road. Let's get back on track.
When were we ever on track?
We have a train to drive, so
4 minutes and 30 seconds into the show, we were on track, and then it derailed. It's that new conductor that they put in the driver's seat.
All right, so Darren, you have been extremely quiet. I know Darren is dead, but you shouldn't be that quiet. So I want a question from you.
I hate it when Doug does this to me. So the fact that you're doing it without his initiative is actually impressive.
I run a show. We run a show, dude.
Yeah, we do.
That's why I started laughing, because I do it to him all the time, and he's like.
So while we wait for Darren to come up with a question, to Google something for a question.
Comment in the chat. John Knight says Tokyo Ghoul is a horror anime. Have you guys, knowing that you like the horror genre, have you watched any horror anime or interested in watching any?
I mean, I love to watch anything if it's good, and even if it's not good, sometimes I'll watch it. The problem that I've found over the last 2 years is finding time to actually sit down and watch something. Because, as we mentioned before, we were writing the novel. So I do a majority of the writing with Jeff's assistance, because he does all the editing. And he'll just be like, dude, you just sent me 37 pages, all one fucking sentence, no punctuation, no grammar check. And it's just like, it looks like the alphabet just thrown into a slew of shit. But that's how I write, because when my mind gets going, I can't stop it. And I just got to keep going until I get to that point where everything's out. And that's not easy. But so we were writing the novel, we were pulling the comic books when that, that high strain of the flu hit. Everybody shut down. We went to filming. So we were on the road to New York every 2 weeks filming the TV series based on the comic books. And then, dabbling with the idea of the animation part of what we were trying to do. So I love to watch anything that's good, but like I said, it's finding time, because when I do have 2 or 3 hours of downtime, I spend it with my family.
Oh yeah.
Because family to me comes first, and the position that we've been put in the last 2.5 to 3 years is we're on the road a lot. I got to say, thank God for FaceTime.
Yes.
Because without FaceTime, I wouldn't see my family much.
And I'm gonna say something to answer that question. What was the question exactly again?
The question again was, have you watched any horror anime, or would you be interested in watching horror anime?
Okay, I'm going to answer that in a couple of different ways. Number one, yes, I would love to watch a horror anime. I've never experienced one. Now, I also want to say that as a kid growing up in the late 60s, 70s, I just don't watch anime. I watch cartoons. All right. I was never big on the Japanese anime, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm on the wrong show to even say that.
No, we have a lot of guests who know nothing of Japanese anime.
But I don't know anything about anime. Whoever asked that question, send me or send it to Doug. Send me a link to a good horror anime, and I would love to watch it.
I'd say I can.
I've tried to watch some of the
High School of the Dead, Darren. You think that was?
Yes, High School of the Dead was up my noggin.
Especially,
I mean,
horror,
seriously, send me a message, because my mind is like a steel trap that's rusted. It don't work.
Get a list together, Darren, of because
but I would love to experience that kind of stuff.
Well, about to say, unfortunately, Ange would be better suited for this, but yes, I have delved into horror to an extent. A lot of the stuff
I've tried watching some of the big ones over the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Was Mirai Nikki like a psychological?
It was more psychological than horror. I mean, ultimately, it's a survival game, but
I don't know if that would be something up your alley, or.
Well, I'll give anything a shot. I mean, like Ben said, we're so freaking busy, and with the live show that we have, it's, I think I'm better at it than Ben is watching the screener links.
Well,
because I have a little bit more time than he does.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, today's the first day I've managed to watch any anime in probably about a month and a half, because by the time I get home from my job, I'm ready to go to bed.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, that's just it. You know what I mean? I mean, here's this prick asking us to be on a show at 9 o'clock on a friggin' Sunday night.
And I got to get up at 4 tomorrow so I can write till fucking 6 so that I can go to work and bang nails.
But
I might be up at 4 tomorrow to hop on a train to go for 12 hours for 92 miles.
Tomorrow's my first day off from getting up at 4 o'clock in over a week. So,
right. Well, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, time is.
And I have an appointment at 10:30 to go pick up some lotion.
And I laughed because I looked at the comments, and HH says you guys might like the first season of ReZero.
I could see that, actually.
I could see them getting a kick out of that.
I'm almost thinking,
especially after what's his name gets introduced. the
What, Felix?
no. Sloth. What was the
Oh,
crazy one? Betelgeuse.
Oh, yeah.
I think they'd get a kick out of that.
And to give you an idea, the main character in ReZero dies like 3 times in the first episode.
And
well, I mean, let me know if they ever do a remake of I Spit on Your Grave in anime, because I think that would be
Jesus.
fucking killer.
What?
You know.
When you have spare time, make one.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah.
Doug.
Yeah.
I got a recommendation from them. That's one of your favorites.
School Days?
No, Ghost Stories.
They would get you a kick out of Ghost Stories for a whole different reason. Not so much the horror, but the comedy aspect.
You know, I mean, I think it might almost be beneficial for us to buy a Fire Stick and take it on the road with us, because we do get a chance after a show or later at night, you know, after the after party.
Actually, that's a great idea.
You know, that we could actually plug a Fire Stick in and you know, watch something.
You know, and I do want to say that you know, Ben's 9-10 years younger than I am, and just look at music. Okay, I don't know how old you are, Doug or Darren.
I'm young in comparison to all y'all. Just
Darren's the baby of the group.
Go fuck yourself. No,
I'm 27.
You know, 27. Damn, dude. So what I'm going to say,
what did I miss? I was putting in my food order. What did I miss?
Well, no, I was bringing up. You know, we talk about movies, we talk about horror movies, we talk about anime, we talk about all kinds of stuff. So I brought up music.
Oh, okay.
The older you get, the harder it is to keep up. And I don't care if it's music, movies,
they make a little
be.
blue pill for that.
I'm not talking about keeping that up.
Well, you said keeping it up. Oh,
you can pump the right
up with
side
music.
and it will work fine.
Pinch it at the base.
pinch it at the base. It'll pop right up. God damn, you just screwed me all up. So no, I'm serious. You know, I mean, you grow up with the music that you went to school with. Okay, then you graduate, maybe you go to college, you get a job, things move on, music genres evolve, they change.
You mean become non-existent? Because
they never become non-existent. Never become non-existent.
To me, they have, because everything that's come out within the last 10 years or so has just stop.
Okay, so let me ask you what you listen to as far as music then, Darren.
70s, 80s, 90s, country, rock and roll, oldies, everything basically pre-2010.
Okay. And I'm going to say I agree with you 98.5%. And the reason I say that is because even after those dates, there are bands like Metallica, Linkin Park, and a few others that have come out with some very, very meaningful music that doesn't necessarily fit.
New stuff.
Correct. You know what I mean? Most of the new stuff, I hate to say it, rap is crap. Maybe, it is what it is.
I don't know. I've been hooked on Falling in Reverse and Skillet lately, so you know.
As I've gotten older,
I'm hooked on Skillet. It makes my eggs, man, nice over easy.
Right.
As I've gotten older, my taste in music have changed. Like I grew up in the 80s listening to the music of the 50s and 60s.
Right.
You know, and then 50s, 60s, 70s, as I got into high school in the 90s, it was 80s music, 90s music, and 90s country. You know, in the year 2000, finally caught up. Then once I got into anime, I started listening to more Japanese themed music.
Right.
And keeping up with the, some of the bands that coming out of Japan, and, the anime opening and ending songs and stuff.
And discovering the full versions of said songs.
You want to know something funny as shit? is, I mean, like a lot of, Japanese bands coming out and the anime stuff, but death metal is huge in Japan.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
that. And, the only reason I know that is because my cousin's a drummer for one of those bands, and they've toured Europe numerous times. And they say their biggest sellouts are in Japan.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, that's because they don't understand the word you're saying anyways.
It's not just that, but there was baby metal coming out of Japan was a mix of the heavy metal, some of it yelling, screaming, and throw cute girls out there that kind of add almost, I don't want to say J-pop, but almost a pop-ish lyrics to a heavy metal song.
Yep.
And they blew up quick, and they're still going strong.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know what the hell music has to do with me and Jeff. Just curious.
You guys
No,
make beautiful music together.
Jeff's the one that brought it up. So
I know I'm being a smart ass.
And I'm going to answer that question because the way that I was brought up and the music that I listened to has helped mold and define the individual that I am. And at the same time, Ben was a punk ass freaking kid when I met him. And what did I do, Ben? I introduced you to the music that I listened to.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Which helped to mold you
into the
dickhead
smart
that
ass I
you
am
are
today. Pretty much.
pretty
much.
And take this how you will, but with the way your face is set up right now, you kind of look familiar. Did any of y'all ever watch Shipping Wars?
No.
Well, anyway, one of the characters that unfortunately passed away on the show looks very similar to you, Ben.
To who? Oh,
Okay.
to Ben.
Ben. Yep. And because he always had his hair back, and he had always carried that beard and stuff on his face, and he didn't carry the glasses, but still.
Well, I carried the glasses because as I got older, I couldn't see shit. So
well, you also and I'm not going to lie, you kind of sound like him too.
Everything's blurry. I mean, y'all
I never looked better.
You all look better, but I can't read a damn thing in the comments. So,
and HH,
I just remember who. I can't remember the name now.
That comes with age too.
Well, no, Nancy Ann Ritter said I look like somebody.
Oh, Steve Martin.
No, not Steve Martin.
I could see that actually.
Yeah, fuck you too.
She said you looked like an older Ray Liotta.
Ray Liotta, that was it. She said I looked like Ray Liotta.
And I choked and laughed.
Hold on, Doug.
Yeah.
Here, since I can't share anything, tell me what you think. Do you see the comparison?
Oh my God! Yeah, I can.
I was say if you can actually bring that up on screen.
Oh, not that.
Since I can't.
Ads. Let me move this around here.
The hell are you doing?
He's playing with pictures.
Yep.
He's trying to screen share.
Yep.
All you gotta do is hit present. Yeah.
What the hell is that?
So that's the guy that Darren said that. So that's the guy that Darren said that you kind of resemble, Ben.
Okay. I could
and
see
plus,
that.
like I said, you sound like him.
Okay. I could see that. When I had my hair longer, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And John Knight in the chat wants to know
I could
who's
pull
your
out a
favorite
picture when
singers.
your hair was longer, Ben. It looked like you were a girl.
Oh my God!
I have that photo. It's up at my camp. I show it to everybody I can.
Yeah, I know you do. My tube socks up to my knees and my friggin' Daisy Duke shorts because that was
Daisy Duke shorts. Yep.
Yeah.
And your chest is so masculine, it looks like little girly boobs.
Okay. All right. Yep. Mm-hmm. Kiss my ass. That's all I got to say about that.
I'm happy Leanne didn't hear that because she's got a story about something that happened at a convention that I did, but it'll stay there.
Somebody asked me about a year and a half ago. So When do you know that you have made it? And my answer was, well, you never know if you've ever made it. But if I ever get to sign a titty, that's my sign.
All right, Darren. When you meet them in person, you have to ask for them to sign your boob.
No, only if it gets autographed. If it's autographed, it has to be tattooed.
I'd say, and I don't have any intention of getting any kind of tattoo.
Oh, you have none?
Nope.
Really?
I am a pure and innocent being in every way, shape, and form you can realize, except mental.
Okay, well, I can't see your face, so I can't make a judgment based on that, but I'll believe you.
He is a good Southern boy.
Oh, a good Southern boy.
Outside of
Where'd you grow
anime
up?
realm.
Where'd you grow up, Darren?
The same place for the last 27 years, right around Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, okay. All right. I looked at land around Raleigh, North Carolina. Glad I didn't buy.
Well, everyone's moving here now, so if you were, you wouldn't have been alone. I mean, literally, the population is, it felt like almost doubled here in the past 10, 15 years, literally. I mean, they gave free college, they gave a full ride tuition to one of the community colleges for Wake County's 1 millionth child or 1 millionth resident that was born.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, okay. No, me and my
So,
wife were down there
Adam-
about 6, maybe 7 years ago. We were
Okay.
just looking for land down there, so I mean, we
Well,
hit.
about to say it's non-existent now.
No, we hit those areas. We ended up buying 3.5 acres. I'm not going to say the town or the where it is, but the population of the little town at that time was 128.
Wow. To put it this way, 25 years ago, the population, no, just shy of 30 years ago, right before I was born, the population of the city that I lived in was around 1,500. Today, it's almost 60, 70,000.
Yep. I know Hickory's about 50, 55,000 now.
I used to like that racetrack. That's one of my favorite racetracks in NASCAR, Hickory Motor Speedway, many moons ago.
Wow. All right, so what else you got? What else you want to know about us two schmucks?
Well, you were talking a little bit about the novel that you wrote. When we saw you guys up at Rail City, you've had a physical copy of the book. I'd heard so much about at Vermont Sci-Fi. What got you into writing the book, and what was it like to become authors of a published book, not just a comic?
Well,
I'll jump in real quick. Like Jeff said, it started as the novel. Both of us have writing backgrounds in poetry. Both of us are Golden Poet Award winners. So it was to associate the merchandise brand that we were putting out to start writing the novel. So the novel was always there. What's it feel like to be an author? No different
I've
than
been
it
an
felt
author
like
for 40 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
As a published author, I mean, it's just another milestone in life, just like Jeff said, it's the passion behind what we do. Everything we do it's about having fun, so it was fun for us to write the novel. It was fun for us to produce the comic books. It was fun for us to go into independent TV filming. So it's not like a job, it's more, I would say it started more as a hobby, but always keeping that fun factor.
It's, I look at it, I look at the novel, the comics, even the poetry and that sort of thing as something tangible that is going to be left behind. And it makes me feel as though, whether it's a big one or a small one, shut up.
They have pills for that too.
Right. That in some sort of a way, that I've left a mark. We've left an impression. Something that others can see and maybe expand on later. You know what I mean? When we started this, I was 55. My wife asked me, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You're 55 years old. You're going to write a fucking comic book?" I'm like, "Well, why not? It's fun. What's the difference? It's creative."
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've made wooden replicas of the Pantheon in Rome. You know what I mean? It's something that's being left behind that has my name on it. And I don't think a lot of people get to do that.
No.
I think a lot of people are afraid to take the chance to let their creativity flow, especially being worried about being judged and things of that nature, and especially in this day and age.
Oh yeah, and
Right,
I'm one of those.
right.
You want to know something, baby? You want to judge me? Fucking judge me. I don't care.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Jeff
because
and I
nobody
have that
judges
attitude.
me harder than me.
Yeah.
Period.
And that's another I've learned so much about you guys. We've talked for years at conventions. I never knew you guys did poetry. Which,
yeah, poetry.
I know there's very different types of poetry and things like that, but
Right.
I knew you guys were very good as
I've written
authors.
almost 500 of them.
Wow.
Okay, over the years, and there's very, very few people, including Ben, that's actually read them. Okay,
Yeah.
because poetry is very, very personal, and it's really hard to take all right, let me put it to you this way. My books of poetry are nothing more than a heartfelt diary written in lyrical form. That's all it is.
Yep.
And I've said that before. Okay.
Yep.
Good poetry comes from two things: infatuation and love makes a great poem.
Yep.
Or desperation, destitution, and depression.
Yep.
Those 100%. Are the
100%.
things that make excellent, good poetry.
Yep.
You don't want to live through that.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me.
No. It's like going to hell and coming back. Literally. And it's a mind frame. Like Jeff said, it's definitely a mind frame. But stick around and follow us, because I know Jeff's working on his poetry book.
It will be. My book will be published because people need to see it. People need to feel what I felt because it's going to help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's going to help people. You know what I mean? Because I'll say it right now. I'll say it right now, live on the air. If it wasn't for my poetry, I'd be dead. Yeah,
and that's something that he said to me numerous times over the last 37 plus years that we've known each other. My poetry, on the other hand, was same mind frame, but it was a way for me to release what I had up here when I was going through different walks of my life.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, some of my stuff's out there. So I know some of Jeff's is out there. You can Google our names. You'll probably find it.
You can find some of it.
If you really dig. I mean, the ones that won the awards, you will definitely find, but
I mean, yeah. I wrote a long, long time ago, everybody says, oh, don't pull my heartstrings. Okay. It's a classic statement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't pull on my heartstrings. You want to know something? Damn it, my heart is not your puppet. And that's today's world.
Yep.
What?
Don't pull my heartstrings because I'm not your fucking puppet. Boy, that got deep real fast, didn't it? Ha!
Oh,
Well, I
but
will
it's-
say, if I didn't pull your heartstrings, we wouldn't have the live broadcast show that we have.
Yeah, I know. I know.
And let's talk about that for a little bit, because you guys got into doing a talk show, podcast, whatever you wanted to call it.
Well, it started as
I call it a fuck show.
yeah, it was a fuck show, and it still is. But 2.5 years ago, at conventions, we became good friends with Philo Barnhart, who was
Three and a half, Ben. 3.5 years
Listen,
ago.
dude, I'm old. I can't remember yesterday. Okay, you're lucky I remembered to change my underwear today.
We're in our
Otherwise,
fourth
I'd be leaving
season.
something behind for somebody else.
We're in our
Okay.
fourth season, so it was 3.5 years ago.
All right, so 3.5 years ago, I came to Jeff after talking with Philo Barnhart, who was the creator of The Little Mermaid for Disney. He also worked on the original Star Trek, and it was the 30th anniversary for Mermaid and 40th for Star Trek, amongst other things. I mean, if you Google the guy, his resume is just insane. And I chatted with him at a convention. He said, I did 5 interviews and nobody released them. And I said, well, that ain't fucking right. I'm not going to stand for that. So I went to Jeff and I said, listen, I want to do a live show. And he goes, no fucking way, man. We just don't have time. And I don't want to do it. So I pulled the heartstring a little bit. And I said, listen, and he agreed. So we reached out to Leo Pond and the Dorkening Podcast Network, who was one of our very first interviews when we came into this. And I said, listen, I want to put together a live show, maybe every couple of weeks, blah, blah, blah. And we did it. And he fucking hated it. And that went on for a couple of months where we got, various guests and things like that. And then all of a sudden, he decided, he was going to be the dick on the show, and it worked.
Oh, that started out of the gate, dude.
Well, right.
You wanted to do a live show, and my main motivation was to piss off the guest. That's what I wanted to do.
That it was.
You know what I mean? And that whole thing just backfired.
Yeah, it did, because that's when that flu-like symptom hit the world, and we went from every other week to every week. We started forging a lot of friendships in the con circuits. The beauty of what we've created is we fit with every genre.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done cannabis conventions. We've done comic conventions. We've done friggin' 3-day music conventions. We've done horror. We've done entertainment. We fit with all of it. So we fit with all those other guests. And we formed that relationship with PR and agents. And as time grew, our show grew. And we went from, I think I told you, 3 platforms to running on 22 platforms worldwide.
Yeah.
And 19 podcast platforms worldwide. Which actually pushed us from being a podcast broadcast to an actual talk show. It's a streaming talk show, but it's still considered a talk show. And the caliber of guests just kept getting better and better and better. And it came to a point where I don't even have to chase for guests anymore. They're calling us.
Yeah.
Because they want to be on the show. Which developed.
Don't ask me why.
Yeah, which developed into what Jeff mentioned earlier. We now go out to conventions and we set up and we stream the panels and the Q&As live, similar to what you do, but only, we have exclusive media rights to a lot of these conventions now. And every day that's starting to grow.
I can agree with that, because we've gotten exclusive media rights to a few cons. Anime Boston was a big one this year and last year for us to be, press credentials, interviews with voice acting guests, which you can go through our YouTube channel and see our interviews. And I was part of a press conference with the voice of Ash Ketchum for the last 17 years earlier this year at Anime Boston. It was amazing.
Nice.
Got to interview Dante Bosco from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Very nice.
It's so, it's so humbling to be able to sit down and just kind of chit chat with what I would consider icons in my mind.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? We've been doing this. Like I said, we're in our 4th season of the live show. It's doing very, very well. We've had fantastic guests on,
Oh,
and
incredible.
the highlight. I hope she's listening. She's probably not, but the highlight of the last 3.5 years of doing this live show was when Dee Wallace told me to go fuck myself.
I remember that story.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did.
That is the highlight because I succeeded.
Yeah. Yeah. You've had quite a few guests tell you not really to go fuck yourself, but I mean, you had Timmy Capello tell you he was going to shove the sacks up your ass after you said you were going to shove it up his ass.
Well, yeah, I'm still waiting to meet the dude. You know what I mean? The fact of the matter is that, I can be a harsh-edged individual, but if it's done right, you form a relationship. You know what I mean? And everything is done in fun.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everything is done in fun.
Right.
And if you're not having fun, don't do it. I don't say things to people to piss them off. I say things to get a rise out of them.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that?
Hence the blue pill.
Well, they're not blue anymore. They're little white ones.
No, sorry.
Damn, I've been taking the red pill. No wonder everything looks different.
Oh, God. I tried that. It made me poop so much.
Jesus Christ. And that's a story that he can leave behind for the future.
That's right.
Well, he keeps talking about wanting to leave things for the future people,
Right. I mean,
just follow
but
the show.
yeah, I mean, the live show has exploded. Never in a million years would I have thought we would be in a position that we're in with it now. And hence the whole, we just don't have time to actually sit in, well, I don't have a lot of time to sit and watch TV, So, yeah, I mean, the caliber of guests and being able to just, we call it like backyard chatting because nothing's scripted.
Yeah.
We'll just, where the show goes is where it goes. Similar to this, there's no script to, there's no notes going. This is a question. This is a question. This is a question.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what the guests love about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I hate to tell you how many people that we sit down with that say, I loved being on this show because I get asked the same question time after time after time after time. I don't want to know about that shit. Everybody knows about that shit.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to know, do you like cats or dogs? What kind of fucking shit do you want on your pizza?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
What do you
collect? Pick your toenails or do you use a clipper? I mean, seriously.
What do you pull your foot up to your mouth
and
bite it off? I mean, oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's why our show has become so successful. And
that's not to say we haven't gotten flack. We've gotten flack.
We got some serious flack.
Especially with Tommy Chong. Yep. We had Tommy Chong on. I was getting private messages from people in the cannabis world who were like, "Oh, how come you didn't ask the tough questions? You didn't ask him about his incarceration, and you didn't ask him about this and about that." And it's like, because that's not what we do.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
There's 400 fucking interviews out there with that question. Go watch it.
Right, with that same information. It's like, we don't do that. And this individual came back and literally said, that just proves to me that you guys don't have the balls to ask the questions that need to be asked.
No.
I didn't even respond. I went, block, delete.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay, because if that's making it all about you, not all about the guest.
Exactly. Right. And that's one thing that we've always focused on with the show here. And you see me talking with people at conventions and stuff like that, where it's, we've had over 70 voice actors on the show, including names that are controversial in the anime world because of legal things that have happened.
Yep,
When we've had them on the show, we talk about their career because I liken stuff like this to sports. You can love an athlete because of what they do on the field, even though off the field they could be a terrible person. But you still root for them because they play for your team. Being from New England, we all remember Aaron Hernandez, wonderful tight end for the Patriots, but off the field was involved in some questionable stuff, which led to him being arrested. But when he donned that Patriots uniform, we rooted for him when he caught the ball and ran.
True.
And when it comes to certain voice actors, we love the character that they voice. They did a great job with character XYZ.
Right.
Even though behind the scenes, maybe questionable.
We've
you got to be careful, though. You got to be careful, too, because there's a lot of things that are publicized, that are said, that are accusations, that are through the grapevine, that may or may not be factual and true. Okay. And too many people make judgments on others based on hearsay and in what they think they should believe because of what they're being told. Okay. And I'm one of those that, you don't want to know something? You can say anything you want about anybody you want. But until I experience it or know factual shit firsthand, I don't fucking believe anything that anybody says. I just don't.
And that's why it's like, okay, let's focus on what I know, and that's your work. Let's find out more about you as a person, more so than whatever is being talked about in the news, hearsay, things of that nature. Because we all know 90% of the news is made up crap anyway, because everybody likes the negativity. America feeds off of crap that the news puts out there, and I'd rather just like you guys. I'd rather just have fun. Let's sit down and have a wonderful conversation with some amazing people.
Right.
And I include you guys in the amazing people.
Oh, well, thank you.
I've admired the work that you've done. We've known each other for many years.
Right.
And it's always a highlight when I go to conventions. Usually at firsthand at Radio City, I was like, wait, I didn't know you guys were going to be here.
That's the beauty of it. You never know where we're going to be unless you follow us.
And I'm waiting to, and you say that you fit all types of events. Being a railroad fanatic, I'm waiting to go to a train show and seeing you guys sit up there.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because when we started out a year after we started, I started saying, get on the train. And a lot of our older posts and some of our newer ones still say, get on the Talking with the Dead train or run the fuck over, because we are not slowing it down. And it might look on our social media like we're taking a hiatus, but behind the scene, we're busier than ever.
Oh, yeah.
So now you're like me. Your phone's vibrating. You're looking at your phone. Yeah. Me too. Because I just got hey, your food is here. So I'm going to smoke this cigarette and then I'm going to let you go.
All right.
So get the questions in, folks.
Yeah. What else you want to know?
Well, okay. Let's look at the convention side of things. And you were talking about network. What's the craziest thing that you've happened when talking with people at a convention?
Everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything.
I am going to say this, okay? Some things can't be unseen.
No.
Okay?
Choose your cosplay wisely.
Okay? I get it. You want to feel comfortable in your own skin. Okay? But, I don't know what motivates some of these people. You know what I mean? You're not Harley Quinn. You should be playing the Thing. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to
I know exactly what you're talking about because we've all.
I'm trying to be positive and supportive to everybody, but I mean, know your line, man. I mean, seriously, you know, I mean, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
Right. I mean,
You know
no,
what
I
I mean?
mean,
You know, I mean, we talked about the Gandalf on the show. You know what I mean? But it
Jesus
doesn't mean I'm
Christ.
going to go to a convention, you know, with a cane and nothing else because the Gandalf is worth it. I doubt it. And they're trying to figure out what the hell I'm talking about. So,
Oh
you
my
know, that's
God.
all right. You'll have to go previous and watch some of these other shit.
Yeah,
Watch
you'll have
some
to
of
go
our
back to
previous
like
shows.
season 2, midway through. I can't even remember who the guest was, but yeah. Yeah, it involved a little blue pill, a rod, and a
Gandalf
Gandalf.
the staff and
Yeah, it was one of those shows. It went off the rails like a
Yes.
minute and a half in, and it stayed there for the whole hour. You know, I think all the comments were, "I can never watch Lord of the Rings again without thinking about your private parts, Jeffrey. Thank you."
Right.
So, I mean, some of the weirdest things. I mean, everything is weird because it's a whole new world to us. You know, we're babies. I mean, we're literally babies in the convention world with 4.5 years out of the gate.
Well,
We've
you
just,
know, and I want to bring something up that happened at this last event. Okay. We're down in Georgia, and this woman came up to the table, very excited, very outgoing, wanted to know, you know, what we did and this, that, and the other, and very, very thankful that she got to meet us because she's going through a hard time and she wasn't looking forward to the event. She figured it was just going to be, and she'd, you know, have a bad time and this, that, and the other. And when somebody says, I'm so glad I met you guys because you made my weekend, that really means something because everybody's going through their own shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't care who you are. I don't care how good you're doing, how bad you're doing, how much money you make, or how much you don't. Everybody goes through tough times. And this particular woman was just going through a hard time. And we put a smile on her face, and she had a fun weekend. And she thanked us for that. And that, to me, makes the event worth it, period.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So those are the things that I look for. I go around and, you know, most of the time I can make people laugh. I think sometimes they want to kick me in the balls or slap me in the face, but, you know, that's okay. Because if I can go to an event over a weekend and really make somebody's weekend, it makes everything worth it.
Oh, yeah. I can totally agree with that. Now,
right. Absolutely.
now, before we let you guys go, I know, Ben, that you said your food is there. We want to give you a chance to promote yourselves, any things that you have working on, where people can find the podcast. We call it our shameless plugging section, and the floor is yours.
Haven't we been doing that the whole friggin' time?
We've been plugging your work, but now it's time to tell them where to find it.
I had to say, kick it up a notch.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna say, well, number one, if you open up Safari or Google and just type in "Talking with the Dead" or "Still Talking," we will fill pages. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't like to do that, Facebook, Talking with the Dead, or stilltalking.com. That's simple.
Yep.
Everything you need to know.
Yeah, all our social media is there. So you can go to Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and Twitch and fuck, we even got a MySpace somewhere.
Yeah, we do, actually. You know, so shameless plugs, yeah, you know. And the funny thing is that for everybody else out there, I get messages, emails every single week. Multiple every single week. I've been to your web page, and you're not showing up on Google searches, and your analytics are incorrect. Okay, every single one of them. I go right to Safari or Google. I type in still toking, or toking with the dead, or weed smoking zombies, and it fills the page up. I take a screenshot and I send it back to them and say, "You don't know what you're talking about, and you're trying to get my business."
Yep.
Okay. Put it out, get your name out there, keep pushing it, pushing it, pushing it, put your meta tags in, you'll show up. You know what I mean? We're
Yep.
number one on Google search for still toking.
Yep.
And who would have thought that?
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you put in toking with the dead, we pop right up.
Right.
And part of the reason is because we put our friggin' faces everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Yep. You know, and I mean, if people say they can't find us, then they're living under a rock, and the squirrels stopped running and the internet dropped. Because Jeff got a message last week or the week before that we actually, our group page on Facebook is in the top 10
Yes.
Wow.
for pages. So to
Right.
hit the top 10 on Facebook is insane. So you can just kind of take that and go with that to where our numbers are for the live show. But if you're interested in the live show, you can go to our YouTube. All of them are there. You can go to stilltoking.com. They're all there. You can head over to Red Coral Universe. They'll all be there soon, which is a new streaming OTT that we're going to be on. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, you know.
All right. And I also want to give another plug. Obviously, the novel is out.
Yep.
You know, you can reach out to us personally, but it is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Okay?
But you can't get autographed copies there. You got to come to a show and see us.
You got to come to a show and see us. But we really love the support as far as the you know, the novel goes. The comics you can only get through us. You have to go to the website or come see us at a show.
Right.
Okay. And the next set, just so everybody understands, the novel is part 1 of a part 3. So this is being written as a trilogy. Don't ask me why, because I think I got more friggin' time in the world left than maybe what I do. You know, I don't know. But it just keeps going and going and going. All right.
Yeah.
You know, so look in the novel, this, that, and the other. And make sure you go and give us a follow. I don't care if it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is you guys use, because the animation is in progress. Okay. We do have a sponsor, so it has been sponsored. It has been written, and the animation work is being done. The guy that is doing the animation, Dal, is a 12-year veteran working with Sony PlayStation to be more specific. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is in the works. Expect to see that 3 to 6 months, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
As soon as
we
it's
don't want to
done,
rush.
you know what I
We don't
mean?
want to rush.
We don't want to rush
premiere.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, but
By this
that
time
is a
next
done
year.
deal. It is
Well,
a done deal.
We're
and it is in
hoping a lot
progress.
sooner than this time next year.
Yeah.
You know, but then we'll be adding voice actors to our resume. So, you know, it's just another step of
You know what
that
I mean?
Oh
fun
yeah.
that we're having, you know. So, but yeah,
Right,
I mean,
right. You know, and you know, just like we came out with a little short. We did a short on the animation, and I think it was 2 minutes.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know Ben was casting director on that. So I've dubbed myself as stunt coordinator for this new animation that's coming out.
That's okay, because
'cause-
I'm gonna really screw with Bill Diamond. I'm gonna put him as wardrobe fucking director.
Yeah, it'll be wardrobe. You know, every animation needs a stunt coordinator. You know, I'm just saying.
Put Darren as
So-
scriptwriter because he doesn't say much.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You know, so that's what's going on in our little world. I don't know where your audience is. We will be in Maryland next weekend.
Pikesville.
Okay, Pikesville,
Pikesville,
Maryland, at the
Maryland.
Poppin' Horror
Horror
Con.
Con.
Shout out to Brian and Billy. You guys are doing a
Yep.
great job. We'll be running all the panels and live streaming from there. I think 2 weeks after that, we will be in Virginia,
Beach, baby.
Beach,
Yep.
for the Tidewater Horror Convention.
Another shout out to Brian and Billy.
Right, THC, for those of you that get that, the Tidewater Horror Convention. After that, I know we have
The High Lifestyle Show in
the High
Boxborough.
Lifestyle Show, which will be in Boxborough.
Yeah, your best bet to know where we are is to go to our Facebook page, Talking with the Dead, and right at the top it says Talking with the Dead Tour 2023-2024 because we're already booking shows for next year.
Right.
So,
right. And if anybody's looking to have us come out, I don't care if you're a dispensary, if you're a comic book store, we are more than happy.
So, Double H, go out there and scream hello, because I'll just scream it back. Because you're in Southern Mass. Double H, man, said he or she. I'm sorry, I don't know.
He. It's actually somebody that I was friends with in like high school.
Yeah, Boxborough is the High Lifestyle Show. That's a 3-day cannabis event. That we will be at. We're actually just vending that. We're not even going to be streaming that one live because it wasn't in their budget. To the cons out there, like Jeff said, if you want us there, go to your con promoters, man. Get them there. They can contact one of us directly. We do have an agent, but if you go through us, we can work a better deal for you. Our agent's going to get the best bang for the buck. I'll tell you that.
Right. And by the way, our agent is Darth Vader because he comes from the dark side.
Yeah, no shit, right? And he's not kidding. He's not kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. So there's a lot of great people out there doing a lot of great things.
Right.
And if we can help anybody, just reach out. If anybody's got questions, we're more than happy to help or do what we can. You know what I mean? But what we really love to do is go out and just hang out with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The novel's out. Something that Ben and I have been just starting to do is trying to reach out to bookstores, especially in the local area, so we can go to these bookstores and do signings so that we can meet some of the fans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people...
Barnes and Noble, you opened some new stores.
Well, yeah.
Excuse me.
People like interaction.
Yeah.
At least those in my age group, we like interaction. I like to go out and chit chat and just hang out and talk with people. You know what I mean? That's what makes it all worthwhile. I don't want to sit behind the computer and sit behind a desk and just be like, oh, go to the website, buy my book, oh, go to Barnes and Noble. No, you know what I mean? I'd rather be out there doing a signing, have you come out, let's chit chat. I'll personalize the shit for you. You know what I mean? And everybody's loving the story. The feedback we're getting is phenomenal. You know what I mean? The biggest complaint is, what the fuck did you end it like that for?
Because it's a
trilogy. That's the biggest complaint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think actually what was said was, how the hell can you end it like that? I what's going to happen next? I need to know. You got to wait, man.
Can't wait for the next book.
You got to wait. And you're not going to get the next book till the next 5 comics come out. So
that's correct.
That's just the way we roll.
And I can speak from experience for anybody who's watching or listening to this. If they are coming to a con in your area, go say hi. Check these guys out. Their stuff is great. They're wonderful people.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, in all honesty, all crap aside, I have a lot of respect for you guys, what you've done. I've always enjoyed chatting with you. And it's one of the biggest reasons that I have wanted to get you on the show for so long is because you have an amazing story. I love the work that you've been able to do and the stuff that you've been able to accomplish. And that's why I do this show, is I want to give back to the community. You guys love the community. You guys want to give back as well. And networking, we're here to help each other. We're not, you have a show, I have a show. We're not fighting against each other. We're here to lift each other up. And the community, we're here to showcase the good stuff.
And we still have to talk behind the scenes about getting you on the network.
Yeah, that was something that Angela was going to take care of, and then she switched jobs, and now she's in Greece. So I'll tell her to, when she gets back, to get in touch with you guys.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
No, I wish she could have been on the show. I love to fuck with her.
Oh, I wish she could have been on the show too. It would have been so much. We'll have to see about
next time
getting you guys back on again so that you can give her all the crap.
Well, it only took you what, 4 years to track us down and get us on the show. So
and it took then, being like table neighbors to be like, no, screw this. This is what we have open. Pick a day.
Literally, well, that's the thing. I mean, seriously, that's the thing for anybody. You need to reach out and pin us down and select a date, because what happens, I mean, I got so many people. So many people, oh, let's go out to dinner sometime. Okay, great. Give me a day, give me a time, give me a location.
Right.
Because otherwise it ain't going to fucking happen.
No. And if Ben doesn't put it in his phone wrong, it'll actually come together.
Well, true that.
Hey, listen, I showed up for the show, man. August 13th, I'm here.
And I publicly apologize, Doug, for that screw up.
It's all good. We figured that something had come up, knowing that, as you said, you guys are very busy. And, being somebody who's done podcasting and interviewed people for so long, I have a very deep understanding of everybody's got lives. Things come up, things happen. I've had people who have canceled coming on the show 15 minutes before we were supposed to go live because something happened. Yeah, and it's like, you know what? We just improv. We're an improv show, so we just have fun with it.
We generally don't cancel. Don't cancel or miss. We ended up having to cancel an event yesterday only because Jeff was under the weather and I was stuck at work. Unfortunately, real life comes first.
Yep.
But we'll be back at one of their events because we are proud supporters of them, and I'm just going to quickly do my ending. And that's, I'm going to give a shout out to all our veterans and first responders. I want to thank you for doing what you do so people like us can do what we do. Stay safe out there.
And thoughts to everybody down in Hawaii with the nasty fires going on.
Yeah.
I heard a little bit about that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But again, I want to thank you guys so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us tonight. Have some fun just chatting and get to learn more about each other.
Right.
And hopefully
I appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. I've only got one thing to say. Darren, you got to fucking talk more.
Yeah, man. What the fuck? He's falling asleep over there, man. We that boring?
It's all right. No, I wouldn't say that.
All right, it's okay. Doug knows where you live, man. I'm going to buy about $2,000 worth of fireworks. I'm going to come to the neighborhood and I'm going to light those fuckers off. That'll wake you up.
Nah, Darren's good.
I think that would do more to my neighbors than me. And also, I could sleep.
Well, although he is, you're in where? In North Carolina?
Yes.
North Carolina. Yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. I might get shot.
To be fair, I've slept through hurricanes and near tornadoes before, so not much wakes me up.
All right.
So
I'll give you that.
Darren, why don't you take a drive in the beginning of September and come see us in Virginia?
Yeah, that ain't too far.
One problem. I'm either going to be knee deep in leaf cleanups or I'm going to be still cutting because it doesn't, the lawns don't slow down here until October normally.
And Darren owns his own landscaping business.
Well, Darren has to find a show in North Carolina.
So Darren, you must be a green carpet muncher?
Green carpet painter?
I just can't. I just can't.
I lay lines and everything. So what do you want me to do?
Well, I laid
just
lines when I was in my 20s. I don't do that shit no more.
All right.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
My food is now officially cold.
All
So
right,
you only
Doug, I
got
want to
10
thank
minutes
you.
left.
Yeah, well, you guys can talk amongst yourselves.
Thank
What-
you guys again for coming on.
All right,
And we will
thank you,
definitely
Doug.
keep
I
in
really
touch.
appreciate it. Thanks, Darren. Someday I'll get to see your face. Maybe.
Well, if you want to see my face, I believe I've showed it on some of our.
Past episodes.
Did I show it on the?
I think you showed it I think you showed it on our review show of GalaxyCon, and I think you showed your face during the show last week.
I may have.
And
Okay.
HH and John Knight both say bye, Jeff and Ben. It was a lot of fun.
Take care. Remember, come out and see us at a show, man.
And,
and if we're not in a show in your area, go to that con, go to that
Find a
promoter
promoter
and say,
in that area and tell
you
them to
want
get
these
us
guys.
out there.
Yeah, you want these guys here, man. And like I said, the best way to do that is contact one of us directly. We're going to give you the best deal.
so thank you guys again so much for coming on. I look forward to now with my new work schedule. I don't know what cons I'll be able to go to. It may be a couple of years before I can get back to attending them regularly like I was.
That's okay. I'm just waiting
No,
for
we'll
you to
see
get
you out there.
I'm just waiting for you to get that conductor's license and get your clearance and call me up and go, yeah, man, I can give tours of the train yard if you all want to come down. And I'll grab my grandson. And I'll go, let's go look at some trains, kid.
I don't know if I'd ever be able to give tours of the yard, but I could probably give you more information about what locomotives and stuff are.
Yeah, that won't thrill a 10-year-old. I can take him to Edaville Railroad for that shit.
I mean, I'd be like, okay, if I'm on a certain train that's going to a location, I'd be like, all right, about such and such time, I could be by this crossing, go by the crossing in Pennsylvania, and we'll blow the horn for you.
There you go.
Well, you keep having us on the show. Your new show is going to be called Derailed. So
that's a weekly thing. You can ask anybody in the chat. You can ask Garrett. I suffer from shiny object syndrome, and behind the monitor is a window. I have the blinds shut so I don't get distracted, but
okay.
there are plenty of times where I'd be like, oh, look, a squirrel,
Yeah, I usually look down to see if I'm still breathing.
Jesus.
Belly moves that much.
Oh, my God. All righty.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Good
I
night.
am out of here. From Talking with the Dead, thank you all, and we will see you out there.
Right.
Definitely.
Talk to you
Peace
guys
out.
soon, man. Stay
Talk to you
safe.
later. Bye. So that was them gentlemen from Talking with the Dead. A lot of fun chatting with Ben and Jeff. Definitely check out their site, stilltalking.com, for more information about their comics, their books, podcasts, and everything. What did you think, Darren?
Interesting guys.
They were a lot of fun, and they were holding back.
And the fact they've been around.
Oh yeah, the people that they've met, the people they've interviewed, they're high class guys, even though they're very edgy, and that's one thing I respect about them is they touch on they talk about touchy subjects, and they can be a little bit off the wall at times, but that's what they stay true to themselves, and that's the important thing, and one of the important things of why they've been so successful. And I knew they would be fun to have on the show, and they do swear. And Sean, that was them holding back. You should see, if you want to see them really off the rails, watch some of our live streams. And HH says they're normal for the people in his area or the people that he knows. I've always gotten along with them. They have that charismatic quality that just lures you to them, even if you don't know what they're doing. Now, Darren, we'll get to some anime talk here. You said you finally had a chance to sit down and watch something.
Yep.
What have you started a new show for this season or still catching up?
No, I started something new. Well, it's not exactly new. I've been catching up on Jobless Reincarnation.
Have
And
you watched any of the vending machine anime yet?
no, literally today is the first day I've watched anime, period, in the past month and a half.
Because I want to hear what your thoughts are of this show. And this week we sat down and I've been watching it in both Japanese so I can stay current and watching it again in English to watch it with my wife. And even she says, why does this work?
Well, I'll leave it at this. It's Japan. They'll find a way to make just about anything work.
It's so stupid. The idea was so ridiculous, and we made fun of it so much leading up to this. And I've said publicly, I wanted it to suck so I could roast it. And I love it so far. It's really, I almost feel like it's better in English than in Japanese because the jokes just hit harder in English than they do Japanese. And it could be because I don't fully understand the Japanese language and how they set things up. But it's just really good, and it gave us ideas for cosplays. I figured out what your first cosplay could be, Darren.
Meh.
Boxo.
Which
Just get a cardboard box,
I have plenty of.
paint it up like a vending machine, and just go to a con and just sit in one location as Boxo and just repeat the same phrases. And if you really wanted to go all out, put like a little tray where you can just dispense random things.
But if I did that from the show, I'd probably get kicked out.
I mean, it could be. Well, it didn't have to be like real merchandise. It could just be something silly.
I know. I was trying to make a joke there because of one particular scene, even though I haven't seen the series.
Oh, are you talking about the adult entertainment aspect?
Of course.
That would be hysterical, though.
I mean, this show is rated 18 plus, and even though they're gone, it's still a show.
Yeah, I kind of want to dress up as Boxo for a convention. I'm not gonna lie.
Do we?
I just need to find some cardboard boxes that would be big enough to wear.
You do realize that the boxes that that are tea cans, that are 32-ounce cups come in, I've literally had employees hide in them once they were done with them in the back of the store.
That's
I can fit in one.
That's crazy. It would work though. But again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. It was a lot of fun having Ben and Jeff from Token with the Dead on. I learned a lot about them from the interview tonight. I never really knew the history of how they got started. Of talking with them at conventions, a lot of times you talk about current things and stuff of that nature, but for anybody that likes going to conventions or you want to go to conventions, make sure you take the time to stop and talk to the people that are at those tables. I mean, sometimes it can be hectic, and Anime Boston are really busy conventions. You don't get a lot of time to stop and really look, because you almost feel like the crowd or the flow of traffic is pushing you to keep looking or keep moving. But at smaller conventions, make sure you stop, talk to people, get to know more about them. And it's amazing the people that you can meet, and even with the celebrities, if you have the time to even have a small conversation, a couple of minutes of more than just "Hi, I love your work," try to find out a little bit about them because they love that interaction, and you'd be amazed at what can happen from that. And like we talked about earlier, Darren, you saw how and thinking that I was a little passive aggressive at times. That also could just be the New Englander in me that was doing stuff like that. But I walked up to the celebrities, I walked up to the artists, I walked up to cosplayers just to hand out business cards and to talk to people. By doing stuff like that, that's how we end up with, having Token with the Dead on. That's how we've had Kelly Baskin on the show, and Sean Shiplock, and quite a few people. We have some voice actors that didn't come on the show until I met them in person. Josie McCoy was a fantastic interview, and it just happened to be somebody I handed a business card to at the end of PucciCon last year. And that was a really fun interview. I loved talking with him. I know you had fun with that one too, Darren.
I think I remember.
That was our first Genshin Impact voice actor interview.
Ah.
But on that note, we are out of time. We are probably going to take next week off just because I'm not going to be around, and I don't think Angela's going to be around. It'll give Darren a chance to catch up on some anime or some sleep. So we're going to take a break next Sunday, but the Sunday after that, we should be back. Angela will be back in the States and not jet lagged. We may have a guest lined up, may not. We will see what happens. But stay tuned for more Anime-Zing Radio right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.